These days, I hear that we need to increase more number of jails. But why we need to increase more number of jails if we are moving and progressing as a society? Should we not close the existing ones? These are the words of President Draupadi Murmu on the Law Day celebration by the Supreme Court of India. Hello everyone, welcome to the new series of Drishti IAS. I am Ritu and today we are going to discuss about National Judicial Data Grid, and this topic is important from GS2 perspective. So we often hear that there are lots of cases pending in Supreme Court, High Court, Session Courts and even on Gram Panchayat levels. And this raises a serious question on the Indian judicial system, and it's high time that we need to discuss on such topic. So today's discussion is about that. So moving to the points of discussion part. So first of all, we are going to discuss the news and then about National Judicial Data Grid and then who runs it and how does this help to the Indian judicial system, and then practice question for prelims and mains. So moving to the news part. So what happened on 13th or 14th of September, the Supreme Court of India has onboarded its data on National Judicial Data Grid, and this has been marked as a historic by Supreme Court Chief Justice of India, and it says that it ensures the accountability and transparency in the Indian judicial system. So this is the brief news we are going to discuss in today's lecture. So moving to the introductory part, that what is this National Judicial Data Grid? So it is a portal which has a national repository of all types of the cases and across all over the India. So it also shows that the cases instituted, the cases which are pending in nature and the cases which are disposed in nature. So this is a national repository and it has been specifically marked for the orders, judgment and case details of 18,735 districts of across the India. And you know what its key features? So its key feature is that data is updated in real time and it also shows the data of taluka level. It means that whatever the data is posted there, that is very real time data that are not pending in nature or outdated in nature. And on the other hand, it also shows the decentralization of judicial system and it shows the data of the taluka level. It means that you will have information of the lowest system of this country. So moving to the next slide. Next slide is about who runs it. So this platform has been developed by the National Informatics Center in close association with the Supreme Court Computer Cell Registry of the Supreme Court. And you know what happened under it, that currently the litigants can see and know the information about 23.81 crore cases, and they can also know and avail the information about the orders and judgment around 23.2 crore of the cases. So it does not only shows the information related to the case studies or case status, it also shows the information related to the orders and judgment. So this is a complete portal for the orders, judgment and the case studies. So moving to the next slide. Next slide is about how does the data help. So the first thing it does, we already had discussed that it will resolve the pendency of the cases. So first thing it does, that it helps in monitoring tool to identify and manage and reduce the pendency of the cases. So this is the first job it does, that it helps to monitor and it reduce the pendency of the cases. The second thing is that we have the data of the Supreme Court, and what the data it has onboarded, that around 64,854 cases has been registered and they are pending in nature. And among the last month we have the data that the cases instituted were 5,412 in nature and the cases disposed around last month were number 5,033 cases. So what it says, that there are high number of cases which are pending in nature and the cases which are instituted are only 5,000 and the cases which are disposed are also 5,000. If we are the cases instituted are same number and if we are also disposing the cases in the same number, then why we have lots of pendency in the Supreme Courts? It's because of the legacy of the Supreme Court. It means that earlier so many cases has been registered but they were not disposed on the time and justice were not given on the time, and because of this thing there were so many cases which are pending in nature. So these are the reasons that so many cases are pending in nature. So moving to the next slide. So next slide is about that it also helps to identify specific bottlenecks in the judicial system. Suppose that if we have lots of cases related to the land reforms or land any kind of schemes introduced by the government of India, then government of India need to check its policies, that why so many cases are registered for the similar scheme or for the particular scheme. So it also helps to reduce the pendency and also to know about the bottlenecks and whatever the problems in the judicial system and also in the legislative system. So it is not just limited to the judicial system, it is also expand its horizon to the legislative system. And what it also tells that there are lots of cases pending in the Supreme Court, High Courts and also on the lower level. So what we have seen that according to the Chief Justice of India, before 2000 year, we have only 100 cases left for the pending in nature. But why we have seen that there are so many thousands of cases which are pending in nature? Because in last 20 years, we are not able to dispense justice on time and we are not able to dispose and solve the cases on the time. That's why the pending nature of the cases is high in number. So moving to the next slide is about practice question for prelims. So in India, judicial review implies, this is the previous year questions. So it has come in 2017 and your options are the power of the judiciary to pronounce upon the constitutionality of laws and executive order. Your second option is the power of the judiciary to question the wisdom of the laws enacted by the legislature. C option is the power of the judiciary to review all the legislative enactments before they are assented by the president. The power of the judiciary to review its own judgment given earlier in similar or different cases. So this is a proper case of the judicial review. The Supreme Court and so many courts does their judicial review and they introduce so many things related to their judicial review. That's why there can be question in your mains also related to the judicial review, and in your prelims also the question can come from the judicial review. So moving to the mains part. So mains is how does the judicial pendency impact the justice delivery system in India? Because under e-court project, there were so many portals has been launched for the pendency of the cases. So how this solves and how it impacts the judicial system of India. So first of all, you'll have a brief background about that, how many cases which are pending in nature. If you will not have exact data, then you can write that, a high number of cases which are registered in Supreme Court, High Courts, Session Court. So, you can write your introduction like this, that, so many cases are pending in nature. And what it shows that? It shows that, so many innocent people are stuck in the jails. So many people who have committed petty crimes are stuck in the jails for the years. So you can give such kind of background for your answer. Then coming to the demand of the answer, that they are asking that how does the judicial pendency impact the justice delivery system? So here you have to write that what are the impacts. The first impact that, it shows the bad impression of the judicial system. And you can also start your answer that, justice is delayed, then justice is denied. So your answer will be more beautiful and more strengthful. So this type, first of all, you have to write that, it shows a bad impression of the judiciary. It shows that, there is a justice delayed system in India. The second thing is that, there is a problem and mental and ecological financial impact on the victims. So this thing you can also write. The third thing you can highlight that we are a big democratic country and we ensure that, we have a big democracy and we have a separate judiciary system, and all these things are not interference in nature, and despite of having independent judiciary system, we don't have any good mechanism to solve the pendency of the cases. So you can write your answer like this also. And it also says that, it will also create a huge burden on economy, because so many economic cases are pending in judicial system, and if they are not dispensed and disposed on the time, there is economic loss for the country also. So these are the impact you can write: psychological impact, mental impact, economical impact, social impact, administrative impact. So all these things you can write in your subcategories. And then you have to also show the way forward, because being a good aspirant, you have to also find solution for your problem. So what can be the solution? The first solution is that fast track court, virtual court, e-filing, we have this NJDG, National Judicial Data Grid. So all these things will help in the speedy recovery and speedy dispensation of the justice to the judicial system. So these are the way forward you can suggest in your answer, and this way you can conclude your answer that, we have high number of cases registered in the Supreme Court, High Court, and even on the lowest level. So it's high time that Government of India and all the judicial system think about this thing, and the justice should be given on the time. So in this way you can conclude your answer. I hope you like this lecture. If you have any queries related to this lecture, kindly ask in the comment section. Thank you.